Well, typically as Echo, I'm pretty much perma pushing, and
Mm-hmm.
I actually asked you about this. I don't know if it was for this game, but Fizz doesn't really have any wave clear, and I do. So my plan is just to pretty much push quite often.
Yeah. That is the response that I gave as well because it just kind of makes sense to do it that way. Um, you can punish really hard by pushing and roaming because he can't react to it at all. There's literally nothing that he can do because the base formula is, hey, if you push in and then you get six casters, or rather, six minions here, like what is he gonna do? He either has to answer those or counter your roam. He can't do both, and that's
Yeah,
pretty
so
much
you
how
win
you
either
create an
way.
advantage. Yeah, and then in lane you can actually out trade Fizz, and you can all in Fizz as well as long as you ult properly and use your W for at least a shield. So basically, you just have to use your W preemptively. Like
So
if you get a stun, it's beneficial, but you don't need the stun to win.
so what is it just for the shield then?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. All right. In this game, I guess I do win lane, but against other fizzes, I haven't really been able to win trades and I damage him. So maybe I'll just probably playing those trades wrong then.
Okay. So right here at the start of the lane, you choose to queue through the minions, which is great. However, you don't do it at the right time. Okay. You're AFK at the turret right now. Why?
Because I'm bad.
You should be already right here by this time to get shove as soon as possible. Because you can literally get this wave in at like 146. Because if you're here, what is Fizz going to do to you?
Nothing.
Nothing. And worst case, you see him here, you see him here. How does he close this distance before you can do this? He doesn't. So if you're going to go for this early push, you should be walking in front of your minion wave. And then as soon as you see like the second minion here, you queue through it. And then you'll hit the entire wave. And then you'll get the shove way earlier. Which matters a lot. Because then you can go get your ward like all the way here if you want to. Or literally here. And that's really, really important because you can get a lot of jungle information off that, or you could choose to just roam level 2 or do something like that. But the point is that you're hard pushing anyway, so you might as well do it as efficiently as you can.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I'm assuming you took the proper rune page, right?
I couldn't afford it at this time, but I have it now. So in this
Okay.
game, I don't have it.
So you do know what it is now.
Yes.
Okay. Or at least one of the a few rune pages that work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So again, if you're going to be pushing, because you said that was your plan for the game, right? Your plan was a perma push. You should be already doing it again. So you're stalling around here for good like 5 seconds. Why? You should already be here queuing through this again.
Okay.
Because now you're giving Fizz the chance to walk up like this and threaten
Yeah.
you. But if you
And
do this now, and then the wave settles, now your Q's only on cooldown for like 3 seconds. And then he can't harass you in that time because you're threatening to kill his entire minion line while he's walking towards you.
so this isn't something that I do in this game,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm looking for like a level 2 trade if I get the level 2 spike on him. But if
Okay.
I'm spamming Q on the wave, then when I hit level 2, I don't always have my Q up for that level 2 engage. So should I hold it, or is it just better to just keep pushing and not even worry about the level 2 trade?
You should have it up if you're doing it properly because, like I said, so if you queue right now, right, like this, you only need 2 more minions to get to level 2. So if
Yeah.
you hit all these, right, you can be auto attacking them, and by the time you're able to kill those, your Q will be back up.
Yeah. The problem is sometimes I use my Q like a
Mm-hmm.
second time, not this time. I use my Q a second time, and that gets me to level 2. So should I just not do that? Just auto attack to get to level 2?
Yeah, you can just hold off on your second Q, or you could choose to use your second Q and then just not all in him. It
Yeah.
depends on what you
All
want
right.
to do. But like I said, if you're up here by now, look, this is a whole 3 seconds of walking time. And that means your Q will be up 3 seconds earlier. This is like 3 seconds? That's a long time. That's like literally half your cooldown.
Yeah. All right.
So see, if we watch your cooldown, it's on 5 seconds. Whereas if you were to do it earlier, it would only been on 2 seconds then.
Yeah.
And then that gives you... Why does it keep doing that? Just windows. Because Ekko is all about trade windows.
How do you mean?
He doesn't really want to trade early too much, for the most part. Like in most matchups. And he focuses more on the wave. And Ekko, he plays around his 3-hit passive, right? So he plays around his passive, his Q, his W, his E, and his R, right? All of these abilities enable trade windows. I know that seems really stupid to say, right? But other champions, this isn't necessarily the case. So if you look like Teemo, Teemo's W doesn't enable a trade window for him. Does it? Not really. His W is his poison, I'm pretty sure. I'm referring to his poison.
Yeah. Okay.
So like Teemo's trade window is like Poison Dart, his Q. Because he can't trade outside of Poison Dart. Because he'll lose. Whereas with Ekko, you have this, you have this, you have this, you have this, and this. You have literally all of your spells to enable trade windows. Because you can trade with just your passive up. Or sorry, you could, it's not ideal. You could trade with passive Q and E. You don't necessarily need W. In some matchups, you need W. So it really just depends like on the matchup, but for the most part, you have your windows up pretty much 24/7 on Ekko. But once you use those cooldowns, you limit them. So like level 2, you have Q and E, most likely. And this game you do, but most likely you have Q and E. And if you use Q and you don't hit any Qs, so you hit 0, now you don't really have a trade window because you have an auto attack and an E. And this doesn't enable your passive, right? It doesn't proc it.
Yeah.
So then you don't really have an effective trade window. But once you get to like level 3, level 4, level 5, etc., that's when you pretty much have a relatively high uptime on trade windows.
Okay. So
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So Ekko doesn't really trade much until around like level 5 or so. Is that what
Yeah.
you're trying to say?
Around then.
Okay.
That's when he really looks to trade because his early trading isn't really that strong. His early wave control is really strong. So your objective is to control the waves early so that you minimize your relatively weak trading in the early game.
Yeah. One thing that I have found is if my lane opponent sort of underestimates my passive, then I can still get a good early trade off because that passive really does do a ton of damage.
Definitely. But if you can't proc your passive, you can't trade, basically.
Yeah. True.
And it's really hard to do that in the early game if you don't have your Q or you don't have your E. And that's why making sure that you're using your Q efficiently, so that extra 3 seconds right here, that's really big. Or like hitting one part of the Q. If you hit one part of the Q, you open up a trade because now you can E auto and run away. Or you can auto and then E or whatever, right? It's just, you can do things properly. But then further, at this point, do you know where their jungler is? I showed you the start. I didn't mean to do that. So let's assume we don't know where the jungler is.
All I know is that he started bot side. So
do you know why he started bot side?
I saw their bot lane coming a little late.
Okay.
That's all that I know.
Yeah. So red side's a little bit different from blue side because I'm going to make a video on this to explain it, but I'm going to explain it one more time. Red side can pretty much do like this, like this, like this, like this, or I'll draw in different colors. Like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, or bottom lane. Or they can do bottom side first and then be somewhere over here. So this is roughly 3 minutes. And it depends on the jungler clear speed, obviously. This is roughly 240. And then yellow would be around 3 minutes again. And these timers are really rough, by the way. I'm just assuming a general jungler, not Trundle. But you see how it's different on red side? Because you have 3 different pathing options, really. You can be anywhere. You can be top side or bot side, basically. Whereas on
Yeah.
blue side, you can only really viably be top side at 3 minutes. So how do you decide when the enemy jungler is on red side where you should ward? Do you know?
Wait. So how do you decide where you should ward when on that side? You mean?
Yeah. No, sorry. When
Well,
they are on red side. So when you are blue
I'm
side.
like this game.
Yes, like this game.
Well, I mean, I didn't know this in this game, but
Mm-hmm.
if they only have a few options, so if they start top side and you know by when the lanes arrive, so you see if they leash or not. Well, if they start top side, then you should ward bot side because that's when they be coming around to gank you. And
Exactly.
if they start bot side, you would ward top side because that's where they be coming around to gank you.
Okay, so you got that part down. So knowing that, where should you ward? Right now,
Alright,
ideally, because you have the wave pushed in. And ideally,
Yeah.
you'd have a few more seconds because you would have done it immediately and not walked back all the way to your turret.
Yeah. So this game, I would ward in that slot, like around the Wraiths area, closer towards River, like in that area, if you know what I mean. Yeah, like around there.
Okay. Yes. You would ward here, you would ward here, or you would ward here. Any of those three are good. It depends on how much time you have, basically. So if you're someone like Ekko who can get the wave in literally immediately, well then you can afford to get this ward, and that's fine. If you're somebody like Kassadin,
And
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, is that ward how does that ward on the red even benefit you more than the first ward? Because you know around the time he's gonna be at his red anyway. So how does it help you to know where he's gonna gank, if you know what I mean?
Because it's if okay, so you know that he's going to go to his red, right? But you don't know where he's going to go from then. So if you ward this, it'll confirm what he's doing. Because you can see him walk this way, you can see him walk this way if he didn't clear raptors. You might be able to see him walk this way, maybe. But you can see what he's doing after that, and it gives your top laner information. Because if you ward this, that doesn't necessarily mean that your top laner knows that he's at red and he's going to do this. Right, so just because you know this is warded, and you place this ward down, that means that you know that if Trundle doesn't come like this, that he's either here, here, or here. Those are his only three options, really, because he's not going to do this. Like, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that your top laner recognizes it, so you're, like, protecting your team, basically.
Okay. So then, like level 1, in terms of value, it's the ward basically in the river, the Wraiths bush, and then red. Those are that's the tier list almost of the wards.
Yeah, it basically just depends on how hard you can shove. And usually you do this around level 2 instead of level 1. But Ekko is an exception who can get literally a level 1 ward.
Okay. So then as level 1.
But it's not really about level 1 because it's about the timer. So if you're against Master Yi, right? He's going to literally clear his entire jungle. So you would ward this later than you would ward against, say, Lee Sin, who's going to clear his buff, one camp buff, scuttle, gank your ass. So it's about the time windows, basically.
Okay.
Like key timers.
So you have to sort of consider the jungle matchup then?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, that makes sense.
And that should decide what you're doing with the lane as well, because let's look at your matchup. It's Ekko versus Fizz, but also equally as important is Zac versus Trundle. Because let's say we replace Zac with Lee Sin. This means that you guys should win every 2v2, and you should be perma-pushing to invade to try to kill the Trundle. Now let's switch this around. You're Ekko, and he's Trundle, versus Cassio and Elise. You can't really afford to push anymore. Because this 2v2 is stronger than your 2v2, significantly. So if you get ganked, or if you try to force a 2v2, you're going to lose.
can't I just push and then avoid ganks by knowing where the jungler is?
That's a risky game, but yes, theoretically. I mean, in theory,
Alright.
you could just never get ganked, right?
Yeah, alright, I guess.
You see what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
you could do
Yeah.
that. Is that
I've
always the
just never
case?
I've never really had it. I've never had a game like where I don't push as Echo because every yeah, if you know, I haven't really thought that in depth about it to the point where I don't push as Echo.
Yeah, I mean, Echo is one of the exceptions where he's kind of like a your goal is to push type champion, but that's not to say that you have to push. So let's
Mhm.
say you're like you take a good level 2 trade and you trade 50% of Xerath's health, okay? So Xerath is at 50% health and you're at 50%. Do you know what this means? It can mean a lot of things, but like just give me your thought process on what you would think if you saw that lane.
Like really early game.
Yeah, like level 2, level 3.
All right. Well, first of all, junglers are going to be looking to that lane because they want kills.
Uh-huh.
Um. Well, also as Echo, I usually take TP, so I'm thinking I'm going to back and TP back in the lane.
There you go. So those are the two core things that that is exactly what you needed to say. Because one, junglers are going to be looking at you. So now you have to look at who has a stronger jungler. Okay, let's say their jungle is Trundle. Can Trundle kill you with Trundle's Aerith? Probably not. If let's say their jungler is Elise. Can Elise kill you?
Yeah, definitely.
Probably. So then you would play it differently. So the jungle matchup is really, really, really important. Now again, then you throw your jungler into it. Who's our jungler? Are we going to 2v2, etc. And then the second
Yeah.
part of it was teleporting to lane. So what can you do with this? This means that you can blow your entire mana pool, teleport to lane, have an item advantage, and then try to all in him. So then if you're going to all in him, you don't want to push, do you?
No.
Probably not. And if you push into him, then you're just giving him free farm, when instead you could be denying him. Because if you're not going to roam anyway, why not just deny your mid laner instead of doing nothing?
Yeah.
So there's really a lot of intricacies that come into playing laning phase, especially with the junglers and how to win laning phase. And this is how you further your lead. So if you want to 2v2, you don't push. If you want to 2v2, you go get deep wards in their jungle and then try to force a fight on their jungler.
Yeah.
So see how extending laning phase leads is pretty... it's a little bit complicated to figure out if you don't really think about all these different aspects.
Yeah. But a lot of it sort of revolves around like just wave management. Like
Exactly. Wave management is
yes.
probably one of the most important skills in the entire game.
All right. Cool.
Awesome. But see, so you're just sitting around here for like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. And then you place the ward. When instead you
Yeah.
could have gotten a deeper ward. And if you ward this right here, you see this, which means you'll see if they go here, you'll see if they go here.
So is warding red better than warding that wraith bush? Like the bush itself?
Yeah, you would ward this instead of this bush.
Okay.
Because you
Okay.
can't really... Almost no champion will be able to push and then get all the way here to place this ward. And even if you could, that's super risky. Because if you're here,
Yeah, you are.
look, their mid laner can just do this, and you're dead.
Yeah.
You're going to walk here, you're going to flash this wall, their mid laner is going to keep walking with you, they're going to flash the wall, you're going to die. So that's why the ward outside of the bush is better. It's not to say that it's better, the other ward is better, but the one that you can actually get is better than that ward.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you took a good trade. So you both have teleport, which means the lane pretty much comes down to TP usage and how monkey the other person is. So right here, you have no Q. I know it says it's up, but you don't. Because spectator's bugged. So you're giving him a window right now because he has his cooldowns. Where if he goes in on you, he will win the trade. Because he has more cooldowns than you. Even though you have more health, you don't have the cooldowns.
So I should be positioning better.
Yeah, so you should be further back. Because what do you gain by being here versus here?
Nothing really.
Nothing. But you have the risk of him coming in on you. Because look, this minion, it's not going to die yet. This minion's not going to die. This minion's not going to die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
And so he comes in, and now you lose your health bar. Now, granted, let's assume Trundle wasn't there. Okay? What happens? You go from 60% health to like 30% health. When he goes from like 50% to 50%. Oops.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He doesn't lose anything, but you lose stuff.
Yeah.
Also, don't feel bad. Oh, go ahead.
This might be what you're about to say, but I was gonna ask, and the answer might be there's really no way. That's weird. But is there any way for me to like position for this Trundle gank? Because I'm trying to, like, I'm actually positioning towards that side of the lane because I think he's coming from the other side, and then he just
so
I wasn't expecting it.
I was about to get to that one. So look at the map right now. What do you see? Without Trundle. Trundle's not there. So let me go back like 15 seconds.
I see my jungler taking blue.
Okay. What do you see right now?
Nothing really aside from my ward and my jungler.
Okay. So your jungler is going on blue. We see that. Our top laner is pushing. We see that. We have a ward here. We have a ward here. And bottom lane is even. Where could their jungler be right now? There are 3 to 4 places.
At red buff for one.
Okay, that's logical.
Could be taking rates.
He probably already took rates if he's doing that.
All right. So then, Krugs possibly.
Krugs.
Or he'd be bot side like he was.
Or he'd be bot side. So here, or here. Those are pretty much the 4 places he'll be. I just drew him on the map for clarity. So what does that mean? Where should you position? Well, the answer is not where you are. And I'm not saying that because of hindsight bias. And there's a very logical reason and explanation for it. If you have this warded, and you're over here, how do you get ganked?
You don't. Not with the top lane wards. You don't.
You do, exactly. So, if you're positioned over in this area of the lane, if Trundle walks like this, alright, you see him, you just walk like this, like, you're out.
Cool. Nice gank, Trundle.
Okay, now if you're positioned over here, and Trundle's right here, you don't see him. He walks into you, he pillars, and then you're going to have to flash, you might get away with an E, whatever. But the point is, you're in a significantly more dangerous spot, because you have this covered. You do not have this covered. So you should be playing towards your warded side and your strong side. Your jungler is top side. Your ward is top side. That means that every single lane movement, you should literally only be on this side of the lane. Even though their jungler should be top side, it doesn't matter because you have vision in top side. So let's say Trundle, he walks like this, like I said. You literally don't have to react until he gets like here.
Yeah, and then you can sort of waste his time if you position right.
Yeah. And then this is something that you can really see in high elo play is that let's say their jungler is I'm trying to think of like the lowest impact jungler in the world. Who is it? Jungle Teemo. Okay? In the early game.
Alright.
If they see Teemo here and they're like here, they can literally just sit there for like ever because they know that the Teemo's effective range is like this. And and Teemo can't do anything outside that range. So you'll see high elo players literally just play outside that range, but they don't have to concede pressure in the lane. So just because the jungler is here doesn't mean you have to be all the way back here. You can be here. And see, like, he can't cover that distance. It's impossible. Now let's replace this jungler with Jarvan. Now it's a little bit more sketchy because Jarvan has an effective range of, okay, well, he has EQ, he has Flash, and he has R. From like here, roughly. So see how the effective range of the champion changes depending on
And do you have to account?
who it is?
Do you
Okay.
have to account for Flash when you're thinking of that? Because
Yes. You should assume that you are going to get flashed on every single time.
all right.
Because why would they not flash on you? Right? Like,
I mean,
you
no
should,
reason if they think he can kill you.
if he thinks he can kill you, he's going to flash on you. Because he wants to kill you. So you should assume that they're going to blow flash anyway. A really, really, really good example of that is Vi. Right? Because she can just flash R you, right? So you have to respect Vi's flash R. Even if she doesn't do it, you have to respect it. Or if we look at Elise, we have to respect Elise's flash E from the bush. Even if you have it warded right here. You need to respect that Elise could flash EU, so you should be like all the way over here.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense.
Okay, cool. And then, like I was saying, don't feel bad for getting cheesed on this path, because while yes, you should be positioned on this side of the lane, like I just explained why, this is like a super irregular path that you just took.
Yeah.
So if you play like this in most games, you will not get punished. If you play in the proper position, like I explained, you will never get punished. But you getting punished like this, don't feel bad about it because that's just like super irregular. You know, that's like dying to like Riven mid. It's like, well, I should have respected it. I didn't know the health or like the trading value or whatever. So like.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so he inted you.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, right now, what should you be doing with the wave?
Hard pushing and then backing.
Why?
Well, I'm kind of low health, so I'm probably looking to back, and I have some gold, and I want him.
So what
my gold is?
You have 1,400 gold right now. Sorry, 930 gold. What can you do with that? What would you do? Because you have two options right now. You can base, or you can push.
Can't you do both? Can't you push and then base so that he misses that CS?
I guess here, what do you want to do right now? Do you want to deny CS, or do you want to get gold? Those are your two questions.
Well, I think getting gold is always good, but in this situation, I have a fair amount of gold to spend.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm gonna try to back. So I'm thinking deny CS and then spend my gold.
Okay, so you should just base right now.
Oh.
Because look at the wave.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what's gonna happen. They have 3 casters. You have 1 caster. You have 6 minions coming here. The wave will freeze like this. You will get a base. He's down for 12 seconds. You could literally walk back to lane and not blow your teleport if he chooses not to teleport. And this minion will die, and then more of your minions will die because they have a pushing wave. Do you see why?
And then I'll have the minions in a good... Yeah. And then I'll have the minions in a spot that
you can then trade him because you're ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So then, when I have that if I back here and I didn't push it out as I do, when I come back to the lane, assuming neither of us teleport, and that wave is there, do I not want to perma push as I usually do and hold the wave there and try to trade?
You look at your side lanes you look at your side lanes and your jungler to decide that. So you say, hey, do I want to invade with my jungler? Do I want to gank top lane? Can I gank these lanes? Can I do something on the map? Because if you can do something on the map, that is always better than getting more solo kills. However, it's not always the case that you can do that. So like right now, let's say you guys are both back and reset to lane right now and the wave is exactly how it is. Should you push
Nothing I
or
can
should
do,
you
really.
try to all in him?
Try to all in.
Exactly, because you can't go
It's
to the
just-
side lanes.
Yeah.
Your jungler, he's on Gromp. You can't do anything.
Mhm.
So you have to really think
Okay.
about the situation to decide what is the most optimal. And these are all things that
So-
I'm doing while playing.
All right. So really, the only reason that everybody says like Ekko's perma push is because he's a good roamer, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of situations where you roam, so he pushes a lot. But if there
Yes.
isn't a situation where you invade or roam, then there's no reason to be pushing.
You could get vision control. You could be looking to pressure
Yeah.
turrets.
Okay.
There are other you could be looking to pressure objectives. You could be just trying to be in fog of war. There are reasons to push, but there are also reasons to not push. And you look at it like, okay, Aurelion Sol, Talia, Twisted Fate, Ekko. Their ideal is to perma push and then roam. But that's not always the case. So you see somebody like Victor, right? Victor, he's not a roaming champion inherently. It's not like, you're like, wow, Victor's gonna gank me. Oh no.
Yeah.
But Victor can still gank, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing for Ekko. You don't really think like, oh wow, Ekko's gonna freeze me for a year and a half. But you can still freeze somebody.
Yeah.
So it's that same situation.
Okay, so then how do I weigh between trying to freeze and trying to pressure and get a solo kill versus standing in the fog of war? Since you said that was an option.
You pretty much
Instead
say
of creating pressure.
you need to look at the map and say, do I need to pressure? And that's like a super vague answer to that question, but that just comes with game sense. So you look at the team comps, right? You say, if I get my bottom lane ahead, does that win us the game? If getting bottom lane ahead just inherently wins us the game, like we have like Brand Kog'Maw, okay? You're going to win if they're ahead, assuming they're not complete monkeys. So you just try to make that lane win. Whereas
So
if you look at your lane,
creating pressure by being in the fog of war, then you do that.
Exactly. And then you have to look at, okay, well, is the enemy lane pushing? Yes. Okay, well then now I can be in fog of war. Now I can go ward. Yeah. You could literally be in fog of war and still create pressure on your lane. Because you can just do this, okay? If you go right here, right now, what happens? Sorry, let's assume that like the lane is even again. Like they're back and the lane is like that.
If I'm in the fog of war right now.
You stand right here.
But
and this minion isn't here.
Unless the lanes are worried about diving, I don't know what health they're at, but they're pretty safe. That doesn't really create any pressure since my enemies are all pushed in.
Yeah. But you can stand here and miss nothing for a good like 6 seconds. You would literally miss nothing at all because the minion waves are even. So none of your minions are going to die.
Yeah, there's nothing lost, so might as well do it.
Yeah. You don't lose anything by standing here. You only gain stuff by standing here. Well, sorry. You lose wave control and pressure, but you're pressuring the map in other ways. If that makes sense. And actually, it can be even favorable if you're ahead. So like let's say you go right here and then their losing lane pushes forward with no flash. Well, now you can just freeze them out here, try to force an all-in with your jungler. And all this just comes from minion manipulation.
Yeah. Does that really create any pressure in this situation? Like, is bot lane really worried about a gank right now, given where their wave is?
Well, not in this situation where your bottom lane is pushing like that. But let's say you're 6.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, if you're 6, this creates pressure. Because you could be diving them. That is what Ekko does. He goes bottom, he dives their bottom lane.
Definitely. Okay, then that makes sense to me.
Yeah, so this game is literally a game of chess. If you see, we've covered 3 minutes of gameplay in 34 minutes, for reference. How much you can do early game is insane. And it all just comes down to how you want to manage things. Because the way you manage it will change the course of the game, like, entirely. And that's fine. It just depends on how you want to do it. Because, look, now he teleports. Okay, yeah, that's expected. Now you have to miss those casters, which you probably would not have had to have missed. Or you stay, either way. Seems you miss them, though. Yeah. And now you're low resources with a pushing wave out. And now you're forced to blow your teleport. Whereas before, you didn't have to use it. So now you're reacting to him instead of him reacting to you. And because you're low resources, like, your team shouldn't be there, but you should be helping your team. And if you would have managed the wave better, then all this wouldn't have happened.
So this all spawned from me not backing right away.
Yes.
Okay.
And see, look, your wave still isn't in now. And now there's 3 people around you and you can't push it in.
So then when, I mean, I've just heard, like, as a general rule, before you back, you want to push to deny your enemy later CS. So when is a time when you would do that?
If their wave is pushing to you and it will not hit your turret. So in this case, the wave was like this. Okay, you had 6 more minions coming up like this, and he had 3 casters. It will not bounce off the wave.
So
it will not bounce off the turret. Because, very worst case, you think it will, you could teleport. But you're still going to collect all those minions.
Okay, and then if it's pushing to him, push it in.
Then you just push it in, yes.
Okay,
the reason
that
push and base is a thing is because you want the wave to be on your side of the lane, pretty much. Either directly in the center or on your side. So that's how you decide if you should push or you should base. Because if you can get it like this, into their turret, if the wave is more than 6 minions, it will bounce and it'll be pushing towards you. I think it's actually 7 minions. Otherwise, it's just going to be in the center again, and that's where you want it. Or that's, like, the furthest that you want it.
Alright.
Awesome. Make sense?
Yep, makes sense.
Cool. Okay, so Trundle went bot side, so you should be walking towards the top side. I don't know why he keeps doing that every time I pause. Okay, so what are you doing right now? Why are you warding now?
I believe I was warding because it was pushed in, so I thought it was a good time to get vision.
It was not pushed in all the way. So see, I just rewinded 15 seconds. I literally just rewinded for 15 seconds.
Okay.
You missed all 3 of these. Okay, the gold doesn't matter. You're missing the experience. That's what matters. Ideally, you would get the gold. But what really matters is the minion experience. Because every level is worth 500 to 600 gold. It's really important. And you don't have to miss this. You can just throw another Q and then you won't miss the experience. And your wave will be pushed in and then it will reset.
Yeah. So this is a weird time to ward.
Yeah, so you literally walk here for 15 seconds. And you lose wave control because of it. So see, look, you missed that experience. You missed all 3, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. When instead, this wave could have been in your favor and reset or even pushing towards you. Oh my god. I've never had this problem before. There. And, you know, you don't get punished for it this time, but you can get punished really hard for that. And that's something...
How would you punish for it? If my opponent does that.
He could, like, freeze you here. Try to. It's really hard to freeze against Ekko, but he could try to by forcing all-ins. And that would require the jungler as well. So let's say in a case where their jungler is around mid, you could get punished really hard for that. Because then you can't step up because their jungler is around your lane. So you can't safely get that Q.
Okay.
And, you know, it's only 3 minions, but those 3 minions are so critical. Consider those 3 minions just like you do the 3 minions at level 1 or between level 1 and level 2, where it's like, who's going to get the race to level 2 first? That's how you should look at every single minion. You should treat every single minion with that much care. Not necessarily that much pushing power, but that much care.
Okay. All right.
I think that ward is fine. I think it's at a pretty good time. You're pinging your team. I think you did everything right there. Yeah, I think that was good. Well, okay, you just missed the cannon though, so never mind. It wasn't good.
I'm bad.
Just memeing you, of course. But yeah, the wartime was good because we saw the jungler go bottom side like this. So going up top side and getting this ward is fine. It's safe for you to do.
Alright. So I can't really get deep vision without knowing
Where their
generally
jungler
is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not hard to know for the most part.
Yeah. And I've actually, I don't know what your opinion on this is. This doesn't happen in this game, but today, like, I died going to get like shallow vision. Like, I walked into my side river bush and.
Wait, why are you walking into your side bush?
Actually, this might not be a good question to ask right now because it doesn't happen in this game.
Well, it's fine. So if you need this warded, because that's the deepest vision you can get, why would you walk like this?
There's no reason to. I can just do it over the wall.
You can just go like this.
Or like, yeah.
You will almost never die here, but you will almost always die here.
Do I need vision of the jungler to get that pink ward down in like that small river bush?
You should have information on the jungler, yes. Vision and information, they're similar,
Right.
but not the same thing.
Not the same, yeah.
So
So if I have no idea where the jungler is, I shouldn't be going out to the river.
you should not be going this way, no.
Okay.
You should go this way.
Alright. That makes sense.
But, so here's a case of information again. If I just talk about the jungle path one more time, really quick. Okay, it's 6 minutes. Where is a typical jungler right now, assuming he starts bottom side?
Probably back at his initial buff.
He's probably back here on bottom side. Okay, so that means bottom lane needs to be careful, and you need to be careful here. That's why I said this ward is okay. Because 1, we saw Trundle go this way, and 2, it's around 6 minutes. So his camps that are down here are about to be respawning.
Yeah.
So that's why it's okay. Now, let's say we saw Trundle go like this. Just straight back. We didn't see him go either direction, we just saw him go straight back. Is this okay now? Maybe.
No, because well.
The answer is maybe. Because it is 6 minutes, so let's say right now. He'll probably be down here, but it's risky to do so to get this vision here. Now let's say you're LeBlanc. Okay, well then you can just W over the wall, pop this ward, and pop back. You know, then it's less risky. But it just depends. And then like, oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying okay. Like I agree with that.
And then so let's say we have this warded, and then our objective is to get vision on bottom side. Okay. That is what we want.
Okay.
If this is warded here, and we're like, hey, I need to get vision on bottom side to protect the Infernal Drake. If we see Trundle walk on this ward, as long as he's not going this direction, you can walk bottom side to get a ward. He might be here, 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 but it doesn't matter if he's in this spot, or this spot, or this spot, or this spot, or this spot. Because at the core of it, he's not over here. So then it's safe to go there.
Yeah, okay.
So even though you don't have vision on him, you know he's in the top side, right? You know he's over here. And if he is over here, that means that he is not over here.
Yeah. So it's safe to go over there.
Which means it's safe. I mean, it's like stupid basic stuff, right? But a lot of people, they don't think about stuff like this when they're playing because they've never been exposed to the game as a game of basically chess. The reason I'm fast forwarding through all this and talking more about warding and jungle pathing, etc., is because as Ekko doesn't really have a laning phase like we talked about. You know, it's pretty much skip laning phase. So the micro, oh geez, wrong direction. The micro pretty much comes down in the early game, level 1, level 2, level 3, and the rest is pretty much roaming, vision control, etc.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's Ekko as a champion. Not that he can't freeze, not that he can't do those things, but he tends to be doing those things. By the way, good job. Most people don't take those. And you can hit Scuttle Crab to make it stop eating that. I don't know if you know.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah. Okay, so you're level 7. Can you kill top lane?
Singed. Well, Singed is kind of hard to kill, but
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
Okay, is your success of killing him high?
Not that I know.
If he's full health, probably not. So you should be looking bottom lane, right? This is the most impactful lane. You can kill Taric, you can kill Jhin, you have a Caitlyn, you have a Nautilus, you have the hard engage. Can you kill Fizz? Yes. Is it going to be hard? Also yes. What should your goal be? Your goal should be to 2v2 or 4v3 with your jungler, really, on bottom lane. And getting these roams off, because you're really not going to be able to kill Fizz. And look, what can he do right now? He can't get the wave in, because he doesn't have the wave clear early. Or sorry, earlier. Level 7 is still kind of early. It's kind of more mid-game, actually, but it's like early mid. He couldn't get this in. So you roaming there, you lose nothing, because you got the wave pushed, and you're able to get back before he can respond with the next wave. So that should be your objective when you're playing Ekko, is to continually just do things like that. But like how are you going to kill that? You really don't, unless he blows a cooldown. So your highest chance of winning this game is to impact bottom lane, or to go kill their Trundle in jungle.
Yeah, okay.
Also, you would have just saved like 4 seconds if you had the proper rune page. So I know you didn't have it,
Yeah,
but
I know.
see how important that extra AP is. So see, remember how I just said your goal is to kill their jungler?
Yeah.
And like that's what happens. That is what should happen right there. So you do good. And let's assume this is a challenger game, right? That is what exactly should be happening right there, because that is the highest % chance of winning. And that's how you win more games, is by saying, what is our win condition right now? How do we win this game? And then the next really, really, really hard part, that's really not that hard, is doing it. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But it's different than AFK split pushing, or, just AFK clearing mid. Because you could very easily go through this game and just say, I'm the mid laner, I have to stay mid and push my wave. When you could do that, but that doesn't give you the highest chance of winning the game.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so what have you been buying? What boots did you have this game?
I don't fully remember what I buy.
What should you have? Like, looking at it now.
Oh, this game I'd probably go Merc Treads. Just because typically Merc Treads is better, because I'm going to get Zhonya's Hourglass later in the game anyway for armor. So
I would also get Merc Treads, but it's kind of a trick question. You're pretty fed, so you could get Sorcerer's Shoes and just try to snowball really hard. That is a viable option that you could do. Where's your W? Why are you not W? Okay. Sorry. We'll go back to boots in a second. Look at this.
Okay.
Where's your W?
Before I enter vision.
Yeah. Even if you do it right now, it's still fine. You do it now. It's still fine. You need to time your W with when you're going to be impacting things. So you could literally use it from here to here. Literally any of those points you should be using your W.
Yeah.
Because let's say you're here and you W like this. Okay? That is a viable W. You can do that from that range. What does this mean? This means that they're stuck into this corridor. Right? It's effectively a wall here. That's what you should look at it as. And then Nautilus has a higher chance of hitting a hook, because you're forcing them into a corner. Okay, let's say you W from here. Now it's like this. Now you're going more for a hitting them type thing. Okay, let's say you W here.
Yeah.
And then you do like this. You're still going for like a hit them thing. So it's not that one is the best. I would argue that the blue or the red one are better than the yellow one, unless you're on comms with your support. which you're not. So I'd imagine those two are the best. But it really depends. But pretty much, you can literally just stop Tarek from existing right now. And you might even be able to stun Jin. But you just don't use your stun.
Yeah.
There's like no reason to. Like, what? You lose 60 mana. Like, if you're ganking, you're all in anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so back to boots. I would get Merc Treads here. But in general... Okay, wait. Okay, so you don't have to burn your flash here. You don't have to die here. Okay. One more. Okay. We ping that Fizz isn't here. Right?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, like, I remember I was genuinely confused as to where he is, and I'd been cheesed from like this small river bush right here before, so I ward it as I'm walking towards it, and then I just don't consider that he's in this side bush. And afterwards, like I looked over this video before today, like afterwards, he's like, oh, of course he was in there.
Yeah.
But
so if you're looking at the map, it's obvious that he's either here, 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 or base.
Yeah.
Because we have vision here. We have vision further up the river, so we know he's not topside. So that means that he can be in 1, 2, 3, or 4 places. Okay. What does all that mean? Because we can know he's there. Well, that means you go like this, you E over the wall, and you're safe.
Yeah.
Or you fight him right here, away from his jungler. Okay, so if you're going like this is literally the riskiest path that you can possibly take. Because let's assume we don't even know that Fizz is here. Okay, let's assume we have no information on the map. If we go like this, and try to go through this, why? This minion wave's already going to be pushing. You're not going to be able to collect it before it gets to the turret. Just let it hit the turret. It's fine. Like, you're still going to get the minions. You're going to lose, like, 100 health on your turret. But now you die because you take a really greedy path. And then further, if, for whatever reason, you decide to continue to walk in this path, then don't walk right here. Okay? Because this is very, very, very different from this. It may not seem different, but it's very different. Because...
So what is... Yeah.
Let me line it up a little bit and zoom in. Okay. Do you know the range of his?
I don't know the exact range, but it's pretty big.
Okay, well that's his Q, roughly.
Oh, I just think of his ult.
No, let's not even talk about the ult.
Okay.
He can Q you over the wall like this. He can't Q you over the wall like this. Let's talk about Trundle. If Trundle walks like this and you're here, he can literally pillar you like this. Okay, and then what can you do? You can E this way, you can E this way, you can walk a few steps and then E this way. You can go this way. Okay, now let's draw an alternate scenario. You're here. Trundle pillars you here. What do? You E the wall.
Yeah.
So you want to be on your wall. You don't want to be on their wall. Because right now, like, yes, this is your wall, but they have pressure over your wall. Very different.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, honestly, you should really just even walk like this, because we know Fizz is there.
And he can still ult me from over that wall. Even if I take the better pathing, he can still just hit me with the fish and then E over him.
Well, yeah, but...
Yeah, it's definitely... I can escape
different
from that position.
It's safer. You can escape, is the point.
Yeah, definitely. I understand that.
And then, look, you don't lose all of these minions now. So if you take this long path, because, again, we should know that he's in this bush. If we're watching the map. Oh, shoot. If we know he's in that bush, which we should know, then you don't miss anything by going the long way. You do. You miss like 3 minions. But you dying makes you miss like 20 minions. So what would you rather lose, 3 or 20?
Yeah, 3.
Even if they're not there, the risk of them being there and you dying is really high. So, like, yeah, it sucks. I know. Like, you have to give up free stuff, and sometimes their jungler isn't there. But guess what? Risk reward. Like, just don't take the risk.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, you're super fed. Okay? You are really, really, really fed. What should you be doing right now? Do you know?
Well, I want this mid tower, and so I can start trying to get other tier ones, and also Infernal's pretty important.
Okay. So you don't need this mid turret to get other tier 1s, just so you know. If you just gank bottom lane, you kill their tier 1.
Yeah.
And then that is ideal because you want to be in the side lane. So like at this point, you should be saying like Caitlyn Nautilus go mid, or you clear mid, go bottom, and turret dive bottom. Because you are so far ahead, you want to be in a solo lane. Because anybody that comes to you is going to die. And if you're on a side lane, your team can get something on the other side of the map. So let's say you are solo bot lane, and then your bottom lane is mid. Because you told them to do so. If 3 people come bottom, your team can get Rift Herald. Right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then let's say you're mid and 3 people come mid. What's going to happen?
Team can't get anything, really.
Your team can't get anything because, you know, you don't have pressure in an area that really matters. Yeah, I know he missed the pink ward. Did you see the pink ward?
No, I didn't.
Oh, there was one in the river brush. You not killing it is the better choice, but just saying.
I'm not sure I saw it in game. I didn't see it just
okay.
now. I could have seen it. Maybe I didn't. I don't know.
Okay, so that went well. Now you want to be on a side wave because, like I said, you can literally kill anybody that comes to you. Or you can distract them long enough or do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You.
So then,
okay.
when I get this mid tower here earlier, when I get that mid tower,
yeah,
is that bad? Like, should I have been in another lane trying to get it?
No. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Because you were able to get it. But your priority shouldn't be to get that mid turret. Like, if it's free, take it, obviously. But your priority is to mess up their bottom lane, usually.
So with if I get this far ahead, and no tier 1 towers are down, I can just say to my bot lane, like, go mid.
You could,
go bot.
In theory. You have push priority mid, though, so it's probably better for you to push mid than gank bottom.
Yeah.
But let's say you're like, you're Cassiopeia into, or no, you're Annie into, like, Ziggs who's ahead or something. Then you would want to get in the side lane because you're just going to be pushed 24/7. You can't do anything there. So even though you're ahead, the Ziggs that's slightly ahead, not as ahead as you, will be able to just keep you mid, and you won't be able to translate your leads. But since you're Ekko, you can literally just push 24/7. Like, you have wave control. But at this point, you should be split pushing. Your bottom lane should be mid. That way your support can get deeper vision. Your mid laner or your AD carry can just get free farm mid and push. She can get solo experience. She could rotate top lane to get that turret. Your AD carry's goal is to take turrets. Your goal as Ekko is also to take turrets. How do you best allocate those two? You go bottom, she goes mid. Or some allocation where you are on a side lane, soaking solo experience, drawing pressure. Okay, I think you microed that fight pretty well. I don't think there were too many big mistakes to talk about that really mattered. Awesome, that was good. Let's see what goes on now. 2 Rift Herald, it looks like. Or you guys get double killed, I'm not sure. When you're this far ahead, you should be taking that. Okay, so that's a point I want to cover right there. You go mid and you clear the wave. That's really good. This was that same thing that I was talking about earlier with the jungler. So let's say this is Teemo. If you're here, you're out of his effective range of pressure, right? So even though Taric and Fizz are here, you can just go like this, clear the wave, and then just walk out. And that's okay. Because they can't do anything to you. But let's say now it's like Fizz and Jarvan are both right here. Can you necessarily clear this wave with this health? Probably not. Oh, did you cut out? Did I cut out? Hello? Am I getting trolled? Did someone move me?
Yeah, I think somebody trolled you.
What the? All right. What was the last thing you heard me say?
We were like in the river. I was going top lane, I believe.
Wait, how far back?
I don't remember. I was trying to figure out what happened.
All right, I'll just go through it. Okay, so you micro this fight pretty well.
Yeah, it was like around here. I think this is where it was about.
Okay, so pretty much I just said you either get this or you get double killed. I think it's fine to do it because your Riven's around. It's pretty risky, but I think it's okay because your Riven's able to just zone him off.
I actually had a question about this situation.
Oh yeah, sure.
Is it better just to get the tier 1 tower here? Like, do you think that's possible?
No. It's full health. You guys are really low.
Alright.
I mean, you guys had more health before this, but like, it's full health. You don't have a wave.
In general, if it's not first tower, do we want to take Rift Herald over tier 1 tower?
Yes. Conditional, yes. Mid lane, tower is probably more important. But that depends, like, do you have a wave?
Okay.
Do you have a wave pushing? Can you actually take it? All those types of things.
Yeah, okay.
Because Rift Herald guarantees a turret, basically. So, ideally, you would get Rift Herald, but getting mid turret is really, really, really important. Getting top turret, Getting bottom turret, Compared to Rift, that is. Or getting mid turret.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, you should be taking this. Because you're really far ahead, so you want it.
I usually just give it to the jungler, because, I don't know, I just do that.
Yeah, but you're, like, really far ahead, so, like, you want this.
Okay, alright.
Because you can be on the side lane and just, like, Rift, and you literally get 3 turrets. Like, you're getting an inhib. But the point I was making right here was, you see Fizz and Taric here. Over here, right? You go up to clear this wave. That is awesome, and it's perfect. I love it. Because this is the effective range of pressure thing that I was talking about earlier, where if this is Teemo jungle, and you're over here, what's he going to do to you? Nothing.
Nothing.
If this is Taric and Fizz over here, and you go right here and you clear the wave, what are they going to do to you? Nothing.
Nothing.
So I love it. This is great. If you apply this to junglers as well, it's a huge step of improvement, like, for a ton of people. Because they can't do anything to you. Like, what are they going to do to you there?
Yeah, they can't do anything.
Your base position's a little bit greedy. Also, really, really greedy, actually. Never be against this when you're basing. Never.
Why is that?
Okay.
Just, like, distance, just to be farther away? Or
if you're like this, you have those 3 options, right? If you're right here, you have 4 options. Right?
Yeah.
You can juke in multiple directions. So if Fizz is intelligent, what he'll do is Fizz will throw it along this path, and you have no juke option other than like this. You only have one option is the point. Because if you go this way, you die.
Yeah.
If you go this way, you die. If you go this way, you get pegged by it, because it's a large fish. If you go this way, you get pegged by it. Your only option is to go like that.
Does he have ult up in this situation?
Yeah, it's up.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, this is very greedy then.
Yeah, and also the same reason that's why you don't stand here. It's the same exact thing.
Oh, this happens.
So yeah, you definitely don't have to waste your ult there. And then you would be based and
I think
teleport.
I might have been hoping he was gonna dive me, like
Oh.
not accounting for my ult.
But like, why?
But I don't know. Just because a lot of times people dive echoes, not thinking about his ult, and it's free kills.
Yeah, but you were like 20% health.
Yeah, that's definitely a greedy back. I was just trying to figure out like why I did that. I have no idea. But alright.
Why are you building Zhonya's?
Just typically I go Protobelt, Lichbane, Zhonya's.
Why?
For one, I can cast a W and then Zhonya's, and it's a stun. And
Yeah, but
I also went Merc Treads. So,
you're so far ahead
I don't
though.
have any armor.
If
So
you
what should I
get
be going instead, like Death Cap?
like Death Cap or Void Staff, you can just like one shot people.
Oh,
Like, because you're so far ahead is the point. And your Echo. Usually when you're ahead, you want to build defensive. But, like, your Echo. You know, like, you're far enough ahead that you can literally just one-shot somebody. Because you have 2 levels on them.
okay.
And if you have 7 kills. It's super, super good. I would be getting a Rabadon's in this case. Because I value the large shield and the turret pressure, because you should be split pushing, not grouping with your team, with your Lichbane, etc. So you're not looking to fight. But if you do fight, guess what? You can one-shot somebody. Instead of like, taking Azonia's, it's like saying like, wow, I respect you a lot. That's not what you should be saying when you have 7 kills.
Yeah.
And your Echo. Again, I have to keep adding that conditional that you are Echo, because like, if you're a different champion, it's different. But you have so much utility and safeness built into your kit that you don't need a Zhonya's this early. It's 20 minutes.
So if I get super ahead, then I can build more offensively. And should I still factor in that Zhonya's later in my build?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely factor it in later. But there's no reason to get a third item. Because you're far enough ahead of the MR curve that if you get a Rabadon's, you will literally like one-shot anybody. Because they don't have enough magic resist to make Void Staff even worth it for you yet. They have Trundle. Like, that's all he has.
Okay. But if I'm going even, I should still go third item Zhonya's?
Probably. Yeah. It depends. Like, your item builds are so situational that there isn't like a cookie cutter build.
Yeah.
So, also, I'll get to this point now. This is really greedy to jump into them. Because we don't know where they are. And it's even greedier to be on this side of the lane. See, again, we'll divide the lane in half. Why are you here?
Because I'm not thinking about it. That's the real reason. But there's no reason for me to be there. I should be like closer to top side.
Yeah. Like, you're here. You should dash here. If you're going to dash. I'm not even advocating that you dash. But why would you dash that way? Shouldn't.
Because we have somebody top, so I kind of that's closer to my team.
Yeah, that's why you would dash top side instead of bottom side.
Yeah.
Because if you dash this way, you're just putting yourself closer to them. And you don't get punished for it here, because either way you're going to end up right here. Like, that small distance doesn't matter in this case. But we know that they're on bottom side of the map. One, we just heard Dragon. But look at top side of the map. We have no information, but we know where they are. Even though we have no information on the map. Because we don't have any information on the map. That means we know where they are.
Yeah.
Right? And that seems like stupid. But in this case, we see top lane is pushed up. Okay, they're not top lane. Mid lane is pushed up. They're not mid lane. We have control over top side jungle because our top laner and mid laner was just there. So, what? Like, he's not there.
Yeah, so
that means they're our bottom side. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you going into this is super greedy because let's say you get this chip. You know Trundle has a pillar. That is what Trundle does. You will get pillared here. And I saw all of this before it happened. Like, again, I'm not doing this in hindsight bias. But you're going to get stuck on that corner, and now you have no E. So now you get punished.
Yeah.
So you got 20% of the turret for a pretty greedy play, and it looks okay. You don't die, but let's say you're not 7-1 there. You die there every single time.
Is it okay to even attack the tower? Just save my E.
Yeah, if you save your E.
Not even...
Yeah,
okay.
You can like throw your Lich Bane down the lane and then auto attack it. You could do that, but you know, using your E is really greedy. But let's say you're down here, right? Oh, okay. Well, you're let's say you're 7-1 and you're split pushing versus let's say Xerath. Okay. I'm just trying to make the most blatant examples so that they're obvious. That way you can just try to apply them. Xerath blows his E, and you have a mini wave here. Well, that means since he has no E, you can just walk up, hit it, E, hit it again. It just lost like 35% of his health. Then you just back away because he has no E. That's again those trade windows things I was talking about earlier. They still apply in the late game, in the mid to late game.
Yeah.
And then you getting this damage on the turret matters a lot because if you do that 3 times, you get the turret. You know, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So doing stuff like that is really good. Just doing that in this situation when you did it was not really good.
Yeah. Okay. I think I knowingly kill myself going for this. I'm not sure. No, I don't. No, I don't.
Okay, your W positioning was pretty bad. What is your only way of getting out of this?
Like landing a stun on a number of people.
Yeah.
Or do I have my ult up in this or no?
No. You just used it because you got greedy, remember?
Yeah, yeah. Then I have to land a stun on some people.
So imagine if you had ult right now.
Yeah, I'm safe.
Because you didn't make that greedy play. So see that snowball effect? But yeah, so you choose the W here. Why? What do you gain out of
Obviously,
W in there?
A shield. That's all I was going for there. And I gain temporary protection because I'm thinking if someone goes in on me while I'm taking the tower, then they'll be stunned and then I can get away. That's what my thought process was. I'm not saying that's right.
But who's going to go on you? Singed has to walk all the way to you. He was way too far to be out. And then, you know, you can't really do anything.
Fizzed? Yeah, nothing.
So if you W over here instead, and then you walk this way, what happens? Singed flings you into it? Okay. Singed walks out of your stun and tries to fling you? Okay. Well, you're out by then.
Yeah.
But you probably don't live this situation no matter what you do. But
you still want to play it optimally.
You want to play it exactly. If you had ult here, I think you can outplay this if you have ult. And the conditional on that is, you know, you don't be greedy for this. But, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So this is what you should have been doing for the past, like, 10 minutes is on a side lane. Because you're so far ahead that, like I said, you can just 1v1 anyone. You can pressure turrets, etc.
Even without TP, I should be, like, just going all the way down?
Yeah. Because what are they going to do to you? You don't have teleport, then you take 3 turrets. Like.
Well, what if they 5-on-4 my team?
Your team shouldn't be fighting that. So you need to
I think
pressure.
that might
Okay.
be how we lose this game, honestly. Or that happens a lot, and I'm not saying like this is a good reason not to be playing where I should be playing. I should definitely be split pushing. But a lot of the time when I'm split pushing, like my team is fights anyway, and so generally I try not to split push without TP because teams always take 5-on-4s without really thinking about it.
Okay. So split pushing is a great thing, and I've been split pushing non-stop for the past like 2 months because that is an aspect of my game that I have needed to improve because I didn't split push enough. I didn't understand side waves enough. I didn't understand how to pressure enough, and that is what I've been like literally focusing on. I've been playing like Cassio. I'm splitting as Cassio. I was playing Orianna. I'm splitting as Orianna because it was something that I needed to improve. And when you're playing Ekko, that is what your champion does. So instead of saying like, my team tends to do this, you just need to learn how to split better. Because
Okay. So
your
how can
champion,
I split better than like?
yeah, that's where I'm going to. Your champion is
Yeah.
built
Okay.
around split pushing. So that's like, you want to use your champion as well as you can. So that's what you should be doing. And split pushing is a 1-3-1 or a 4-1. These are your two viable options. And it tends to be 1-3-1. Especially with Riven, it's a 1-3-1. And you have Caitlyn, oh, it's a 1-3-1. Like, your team, it's like, oh, this is pretty good for 1-3-1. Honestly, it's pretty good for a 4-1 as well. But I would prefer 1-3-1, personally. So what do? You say 1-3-1, don't fight, and then that's it. And then you 1-3-1. I know it seems stupid, right? Well, no, they're just going to fight 4v5. But if you say don't fight, this has a big impact. And 2, you need to be split pushing intelligently. So let's say this wave is up here, exactly even. What can you do with this wave? You have 3 options, really. You can, 1, leave it, and it will push based on who has a higher average level in the game and more turrets. 2, you can slow push or fast push. You can manipulate it, basically. Or 3, you can clear it. Right? Those are the 3 things you can do with the wave. What can you do after each one? You can rotate. You can rotate. And you can rotate. Okay, so notice that the key essence there is rotating. And there's tons of other things under these. You know, there's warding, there's taking jungle camps, there's, 500 other things. But I only wanted to cover this one because this is the most important one right now. If you set up a side wave on a slow push, okay, and then you're here again, you slow push this wave, and then you go ward this, and then now you're sitting here waiting while your team's over here clearing the wave. And then you see their top laner rotate, and then you come here and 4v5 them. You just split pushed, but you also fought a team fight. So just because you
split pushing isn't just like AFKing bot.
Exactly. That's the key point. Okay. Is split pushing is not AFK hitting a turret. You could be doing that in some cases. Your goal could literally be just to AFK hit a turret. Because your team is smart enough to just back off when it's outnumbered or whatever, or they don't have good engage, you have really good disengage, whatever the circumstances may be. But split pushing is not just AFK hitting the turret, and that's a really, really, really big misconception. And that's how you need to learn how to split push. You have to do it, right? Because if you don't do it, you're not going to learn it. Trust me. I'm speaking firsthand here. I would scrim against some LAN LCS teams. They literally only split push. Like, that was their, strategy, was split pushing. And I'm just like, oh my, we're getting beat every time by the split push. How do we beat it? And then I was like, wait, why aren't we split pushing? This is amazing. And it's like, I just enlightened my world. And it's the same thing here. So you were concerned with how do you keep your CS numbers up? You split push. Right? That's how you do it. You set up a slow push, you let the wave bounce into their turret, and then it bounce backs to you, and then you collect that wave, then you set up on another push. So even though you're not literally AFK sitting in a lane, you set up the waves so that it will be pushing, which will then come back to you, and you're getting all that initial farm, and then you're getting the farm that comes after, while also pressuring the map. So if you watch my stream,
So I can like split push, group with my team, split push again, like
yeah,
as
it's
the waves.
just called pressuring the map. Yeah. So there's windows where the waves are like hitting turrets and stuff. And even if you're not actively hitting the turret, your minions really start to hurt. If you push one wave in fully, let's just say fully, 6 minions, that's it. That's like a good 100 to 300 damage. That's a lot.
Yeah. All right.
Did that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's definitely helpful. And yeah, that's definitely helpful because it's definitely helpful to think that split pushing isn't just sitting in a lane and AFKing there, because even I know it's hard, like teams do engage 4v5 like all the time. Like even if you say don't fight, like 1-3-1, it happens, and then you get flamed because like, why aren't you grouping? And I'm not blaming my team. Like I know that's a dark path. I don't want to go down it, but that does happen. So it's good to like have a way around that almost.
That is going to happen, and you just have to say, I'm doing the right thing, and if I consistently do the right thing across many games, it will turn out more in my favor than against my favor. So just because it doesn't work in this one game doesn't mean that you didn't do the right thing. Okay, so I'll use a really good example. Okay, my team died 4v5 because I got caught 1-by-1 while I was split pushing. Because like my support walked into an area where we had a pink ward, and then we saw him on the pink ward, whatever. You know, he died. All that matters is he died. So instead of saying, wow, you suck, I say, okay, my support is dead, what do I do now? If I go help my team now, can we 4v5 without my support? No. So I'm going to keep split pushing, because that's where I can impact the map. Okay, so then I just say, stop dying, minimize the losses, like, just leave him, he's gone, whatever. And then, for whatever reason... Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, on the topic of split pushing, like, 2 questions. One, what about when their whole team is mid, and your team is on the defense, like, say that someone's been caught, but they're ignoring you? Like, let's say I'm on tier 2 bot, and their whole team is on tier 2 mid. Should I back and defend, or see what I can trade for this?
It depends. So that is a scenario that I was actually going to be talking about, pretty much. So what happened was, like I said, my support got caught, then somebody else got caught because my support was caught, so then they were like trying to get vision or whatever. People just kept getting caught. And I'm like, well, this sucks. But I traded a turret for it. Okay, fine. We got a turret. And then what I did was I was bottom lane. Okay, so they were all top lane. So I was over here. I got this turret. Somebody got caught here. Somebody got caught here. And now it's 2 here, 1 here versus like 4 of them. So what can I do? I can keep pushing this, which I did. I can rotate and try to fight a 3v4, which I did not do. So instead, I kept pushing this. I got this turret as well. Okay, now we traded 2 turrets for 2 kills. And then they get Baron. Okay, so 2 kills plus Baron, and we get 2 turrets. Okay, sorry for my math speak there. It's not ideal, but I made the best out of a bad situation. And then, the most important thing is what I did after that. So this turret was already down. So what I did after I got this turret, both of these, is I rotated over here and sat here. While they were pushing up like this. They only had like 3 minions. So what did I do? I just took the minion wave and said, no, I'm just going to clear your minion wave. What are you going to do without your minion wave? Nothing. So that's, again, making the best out of a bad situation, because I'm just doing the best that I can to be a nuisance and to be effective on the map when my team had already made a mistake. So just because one of your teammates dies, or multiple of your teammates dies, doesn't mean you can't do something to save the game, for example. And like, somebody was like literally flaming me so hard because I was doing this, but I'm just like, wait, you just died. I just saved our base. What do you, like, what? So you see how, like, you don't have, just because your team dies doesn't mean you can't do things still.
Yeah.
So you have to look at it and say, hey, are they going to take my inhib? Or Are they going to take my Nexus? Well, then yeah, you have to base, right? But like, you can look at it as turret trading. You can look at it as pressure trading. Whatever makes you not tilt, and whatever gives you the most effective pressure.
Right. Okay. And then just a second part of that question.
Yeah.
What about when they have Baron buff? Like you can definitely push out waves, but should you really be like all out split pushing?
It depends again. So, are you the wave clear on the team? You know, do you have like
Yeah.
Twitch 80 carry with Riven top lane and Zac jungle? Yeah, okay, so then you probably need to be mid to help wave clear. Are you with Caitlyn, Gragas, who's a really high wave clear top laner? I can't think of one. And then Varus. Well, not necessarily now. So now it gets more convoluted. So you really just have to think about what does my team need and how do I fill that function? And I think that's been a common trend in this VOD review, is that when you're playing the game, it's all about what your team needs and the information that you have. And how do I win the game off of that information? So you notice I'm not sitting here and explaining, well, you should have done EW faster and then, you know, micro this and micro that. It's a lot about the macro or just the game knowledge. Do you think that I've focused more on that? Because that's how I felt about this.
Oh, definitely. I got almost.
Okay, cool.
Almost 100% on that.
Because that's how you solve things like not having enough farm. Like, yeah, I could say go in a custom game and practice, and that is part of it. But that only helps you in laning phase. That doesn't help you after laning phase. This Baron's really greedy, and you take double damage on the back half of Baron. So, for clarity, if you're on this side of Baron, you take twice the damage. So don't be on that side.
Oh, I really didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wait, if you're on like the right side, or is it the back side?
The back side.
Oh, why is that?
I don't know, just a Baron mechanic. Because it like stacks more on you or something.
Oh, that's weird. All right.
Okay, so this fight's like you guys doing this Baron was like super greedy. You correctly focus the AD carry though. Oh, you missed your E. Okay. So right now, what can you do? You can base, you can go touch the wave, you can sit in here. You have a few options.
Oh, I get killed.
Oh yeah, okay. But let's say instead Fizz walks over here and pushes this. This is that effective zone of impact thing. If all four of them that are alive, three of them that are alive are mid, you can push this wave in.
Yeah,
you
maybe get an in-hub off that, or at least.
Well, Singe is gonna be up, but you could push this in, get it to the turret.
Yeah, right.
And there is another wave right here. But like you could still do something on the map, even though it just didn't turn out the best right there. So see that's again one of those like split push type things where it's like, hey, I can still do something, even though I'm like low on health or my team just lost.
Yeah. All right.
And also, if you're going to die anyway, like you just know 100% you're gonna die, just push the wave. Like, you know, Fizz is coming like this. Singe is coming like this, and then Jin's like right here with full health and you have nothing. Like just push the wave. Because you're gonna die anyway.
Yeah, all right.
Not to say that's ideal, but if you're gonna die, you're gonna die.
Make the best out of a bad situation.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, just like when you're going to die, you don't burn flash. It's that same thing.
Yeah. And on a larger scale, like you were talking about in your situation where you just like split push 2 towers for like 2 kills and a Baron buff.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of making the best out of a bad situation too.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't ideal that it happened that way, but guess what? My team died.
Yeah.
I have to live with the fact that my team died. And me flaming them isn't going to help us win. me doing what is best in that scenario will then help us win. So instead of like saying, oh, like, well, my team inted, like, well, yeah, they inted, it's true. I'm not denying that. But I can still do something, even though they just inted me.
Yeah. All right.
And of course, I'm using inted facetiously, but. Oh, and when you're split pushing, you should have a blue trinket almost always. Okay, so it's okay. I'm definitely gonna look at this fight.
So I initially have the instinct. Yeah, I'll explain as we go back.
All right, I'm just gonna assume you die.
Yeah, I do. So if you go back, I go into this bush here and I start to recall because like I think that they're rotating down to us and I'm like whatever. But then I see not go back and I decide to stay and that's a bad call on my.
Yeah. So when split pushing, it's all about information. What information do you have right now?
Well, I don't know where anyone is, so that's kind of information. I mean, I think they're probably coming down to us.
They have two options. They can be coming down for you or they can be doing Baron. Let's assume they're doing Baron. Okay. If you assume they're doing Baron and they're not at Baron, you die. If they're doing Baron and they're doing Baron, you lose out because you're not hitting the turret, but you don't die. And then they take Baron and then you can hit the turret a little bit. Let's assume they're coming bottom. Oh, go ahead.
I think what I was doing here is I was going to start a recall and see if any more information showed up and then move. But I moved to, like, I decided to stay when I see not go back in, and that's the mistake. But like,
yeah.
I was going to see, like, if people show bot while I'm recalling, then I just finish the recall. But, like, if Riven sees them at Baron, then I keep pushing your ITP in, you know?
Yeah, so that's the right decision. You weren't patient enough.
Didn't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, this W is really bad. Okay. You place it right on top of you. Look at all this wasted W. Okay. All of this is wasted.
Yeah.
Because you can't get into that. So if you place your W here instead, and it goes like this, it's a little large, but you get the point? See how it's significantly better because you made a mistake here. One, you didn't you walked along this instead of going in it. But if you just place it better, you would get it either way. But you'll see like look, see, you don't go into it. Like, why don't you go into it?
Yeah, that is bad.
And then yeah, from that point, you know, it's kind of over. And you missed your second E over the wall.
And I kind of bait my team. Like, I make a bad call, but the whole team follows. And, like, they shouldn't have followed, but that's, you know, you can sort of trace that back to me.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so now they get another Infernal because you died. This is a good teleport. I like it. I think you guys get that turret if you do it properly, though.
Yeah, I think so, too.
So right here, what are you doing? Like, okay, you clear the wave. Cool. What are you doing right now? What are you doing? That's a whole
ITC here, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a whole 2 seconds right there that you're hitting that turret.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure with one more auto with a Lich Bane, that's gone, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
No problem.
They're gonna be barking for a minute.
That's fine, that's fine. I have dogs too, I understand.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely need blue trinket if you're splitting because that's how you gather information. Because let's say you're right here right? And you're just sitting around this area for like 30 seconds. If you ward this with a blue trinket, you can safely do that because you don't have to patch this brush. You don't have to path this. And you gather information on if they're coming down to kill you. So you see how that ward is really valuable. Okay, now let's extend it further. Let's say we get this blue trinketed. We don't have to go here. We don't have to go here. We don't have to go here. And we gather this information. What does that mean? If somebody comes like this, we're going to know. But you can safely get it is the point.
Yeah.
Or let's say we blue trinket this. This covers this. It covers half of it. So if somebody comes this way, we're going to know. If somebody comes this way, we're probably still going to know. And now let's do this. We get both of them now because we have blue trinket for more than, 3 minutes. Well, now we get both of them. So now we get this and we get this. See how that information just like compiles?
Yeah.
So even though you don't have everything effectively warded, obviously you're missing, all of this. This is all dark. But because you have this and because you have this, you are significantly safer.
Yeah. So, on the topic of warding,
Yeah.
one problem I've run into is like my build, because I often build Dark Seal and like refillable, and sometimes
Okay.
corrupting potion, and sometimes also even a Doran's ring on top of that. I don't have space in my
Yeah, you don't have
inventory
slots.
for control wards.
You sell
So-
your dark seal or you sell your corrupting potion, depending on which one's going on.
All right. Yeah,
What?
typically I sell the corrupting potion. I just want to make sure that's right.
Yeah. It really just depends on what you need type thing.
So what
But-
time are you leaving?
I told you 8.
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right, you're gonna take the BMW. The cake is in the back of the car, in the trunk.
Okay.
Be careful,
Okay.
and don't forget to leave at 8.
Okay.
And if you need help getting it
Oh
out
my
because
Jeez. Sorry. Oh my
That's
god.
fine. That's fine. No problem.
I was trying to upload straight without clipping, but now I have to clip. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So, like, let's say you're against Cassidon. Well, you probably split pushing against Cassidon. You probably need that sustain, so you probably shouldn't sell your corrupting potion. Let's say you're against Zed. Well, that Doran's ring matters a lot. That extra health is really, really important. See, I'm just thinking about what I'm doing and then which one I need, and then just getting rid of the one that even if I wouldn't like to get rid of it, I have to.
Yeah, and I also just want to confirm that build. Like, a lot of games I've ended up going refillable / corrupting, Dark Seal, and Doran's ring as like my first 3 items, just because I need like the mana sustain in order to be constantly pushing.
Yeah.
Is that okay to go all 3 items?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's
cool.
okay to do. Definitely. So you're at the wrong place right now. You should be splitting top lane or with your team. Either way. Because you don't have teleport. So we talked about this earlier where you can still split without teleport. But you have to split on the right side of the map. So Riven doesn't have teleport either. So what does that mean? That means you guys can't really be splitting right now because they have pressure on the map. They have tempo. Look, they have waves pushed. You guys don't have wave control yet. They have mid priority, and you guys have no vision on the map. So this is not a time to be splitting because you need to help your team establish priority first, and then you can go split.
Well, I'm a little confused on what you mean by that.
Okay.
What do you mean help my team establish priority first?
Look at the map. I'm pretty much going to repeat everything I said in a different way. You have top pushing right now, but if we rewind it 15 seconds ago, we don't. Okay. Look at the map. What do we know? We know that they have mid pushing.
Yes.
We have 0 vision anywhere. Baron's up. There's 1 top lane, which you're about to catch. We don't have top priority. We have bottom priority already. It's pushing. So where can they be? They can be here. Is that likely? No. They're more likely to be here. Because Baron's up. Right?
Right. Okay.
In my head, that makes sense. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. No. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to be going around Baron unless like they were planning to take it, like they had caught someone out or something like that.
Well, they can just force a fight 4v5. If you show bottom lane.
Then, right. Okay, so then I guess that does make sense because there's nothing really to get bottom lane like dragons.
Yeah,
you know?
what
So
are
that
they
does
going to
make
do
sense.
bottom lane?
Yeah, nothing really.
Nothing. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they'll be here. Even though we don't know they're there. We see one there. It makes sense that they'll be there. And you don't have teleport. So this is not a time to go bottom lane. Instead, you should be going mid lane. Because Riven's already top lane. And then you're with your team.
I can either
Oh, go ahead.
I can either split push on the side of the map where the enemy team is, or on the opposite side, but I need teleport in that situation. Is that like
generally
is that what you're
yes?
saying?
You can split push without teleport on the opposite side of the map, but it can't be in this case because let's say right now, right? We see one of them here, we see two of them here, and then we see two of them here, and we have vision control here and here and here. We can predict. We know what they're gonna do, but right now we have no control over the map, so we can't say I'm gonna split push.
Because then if they see me bot, they force a fight or they force a
Then
Baron
they
or
force a
something?
fight or they force Baron, because you can't do anything about it.
Okay.
So you see how them
so
being
that-
4 here, which we should assume they're 4 here because we don't have vision on them. So we need to assume that they're already there. Is different than if we see, you know, Fizz doing blue buff and then Jin doing red buff and then 2 here. And then like him here, Singe there. You see how those are very different from what we have now?
Yeah.
And that's all just information gathering. And yes, right now we have this global perspective, right? But you also have a global perspective in the game. It's called moving your camera. I don't know if you do it because this isn't a first person VOD. So before you even step up on this wave, you should be checking this wave. You should be checking this wave. You should be looking around at your vision. What do you know?
Yeah.
So it's really hard to give you a concrete formula on, oh, when can I split push? Because it just comes down to so much in the game. Yeah, it's so situational. But ideally, your split pushing is Ekko 24/7. Or rather, I guess maybe like 80% of the game. Because like situations in this, you have to respect that they could be doing Baron and you could be here. Because look at it. Right now, your team has to blindly face check into Baron.
Mm-hmm.
It's going, like, they have to. Because otherwise you guys just lose Baron for free. Because you guys aren't getting anything here. You're not getting anything here. So they literally, or you're not getting anything here, they literally just get a free Baron.
And if I have TP, is it okay to be bot then? Because then I can TP into the fight.
Probably not still.
Why is that?
I still would not be bottom lane because they have mid priority. You guys do not have top priority. You guys already have bottom priority. It's already going to push. 4.5 seconds is a long time to channel. And you guys don't have good teleport wards anyway. So instead, if you establish mid priority a little bit, even just clearing this wave and staying with Caitlyn for a little bit, and then this wave builds up to here. Well, now, if you go bottom with teleport, you're a really big threat because you have, like, 2.5 minion waves down here. That's a lot of minion waves. But when these 2.5 minion waves are here, they don't do anything. And this is already automatically going to push.
All right. So a lot of it is, like, assessing the situation and, you know. Okay, so a lot of, okay.
So like I said again, like, if you're here and they're here, what happens?
Well,
You're there for a fight.
5v5 if we're all going. Yeah.
Yeah. What happens if they're on Baron and you're here? With teleport.
We get a 4v5, but we're at a little bit of a disadvantage because my TP takes down the channel.
Exactly. So you see the difference there. Very, very big difference because those 4.5 seconds of 4v5 are like games are decided in 4.5 seconds. Like,
but I mean, if it's then how can you ever warrant teleporting? Like, how can you ever warrant those 4.5 seconds of split pushing if it's gonna be 4 and 5?
You have vision.
For that.
So let's say you want to flank. Okay, they're here, or no, you have a flank ward there, and they're like in here. This is a pretty nasty flank.
Oh, I see.
Or what'd you say?
Yeah, I see. Like if you can get a flank off.
Or
That
let's
makes
say your wave is already up here, and you're on the inhib turret with these 2.5 waves. You're threatening to end the game with 2.5 waves.
Yeah.
With a Lich Bane. So let's say your team doesn't fight, they just like stall it out. You're literally going to take their base. So there is no cut and dry, well, when is it okay to split push? You literally have to think, what can I do on the map? Because this wave being here versus being here, worlds apart. It's so different. And for the reasons I just explained. Because if you're down here, what can you get? You can get the wave to be like here by the time the fight's over. Okay, but what if the wave is here? Well, now you can literally take their base. And that's a dramatic example. Like, like, this is even. This is like, well, it's not even. It's like at an even position. And this is like, already on the turret. But let's say it's like here. This is only one wave worth of distance.
Yeah,
it's
I guess
only going to take 8 seconds or so.
Yeah, I guess I was just a little. The reason I was a little confused is because I'm thinking, if team fights are decided in like 4.5 seconds, the time it takes a channel TP, then, like, why would you ever TP to a fight if it's already decided by the time you get there? Unless you have flank, like.
Not all team fights are decided in 4.5 seconds.
Okay,
so
right.
Let's say your team is Janna, Galio, Caitlyn.
Yeah.
That's a very viable team comp. Like, that happens in solo queue.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even far-fetched. I didn't say like some like Lux and something that's never. Oh, well, I guess Lux is probably played, but like in my elo, she's not. That's a very viable team comp. They can stall that fight for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So here, I was expecting Riven to go right back, but she clears a pink ward. So maybe I should go back anyway. But
no, you can't go back.
All right.
This is that same scenario I talked about earlier. If you go back, what are you gonna do?
Nothing. I can't stop them.
You're gonna do nothing. You can't stop them. Instead, you kill their Fizz and you take a turret. Like, I'm sure your flame's probably flaming. Your team is probably flaming you here, right?
Yeah, I got flamed for still pushing quite a bit this game.
Okay, well, this is the right thing to do. Look what you're doing. This is the exact same scenario that I described. That happened to me in my game. I literally described the scenario. Didn't I just say this?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Okay, so look what you get, and look what they get. You're making the best out of a bad situation. That's funny. This is so greedy, though. I imagine you die for that. That's not worth blowing your flash. Like, I'm pretty sure you just came out ahead on that trade. You traded a mid turret for 2 turrets bottom and an inhib when Baron's up. Bottom inhib when Baron's up. That is huge.
Yeah. Look, as I've honestly, like, this game was played 4 days ago or something like that, and like I've started split pushing more since then. Like I've been changing how I play, and like I get flamed for not grouping like all the time. Like
I can assure you 100% that was the right thing there. And if you do that in every scenario, okay, wait, you being bottom initially is not correct. Let me clarify that. But what you do after your team dies is correct.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so you've been on the sideway for a good while now, so that's good. You're at 220 farm. The reason you're quote-unquote low on farm, right, you would probably consider this low if you're split pushing for majority of the game, is because in the mid-game, you weren't on the side wave. You were grouping, you were doing weird things that isn't typical of what a split pusher would do. So if you were doing this the entire game, once you started getting ahead, you would be at like 300 farm right now.
Yeah, so here I, like, even earlier than this, actually, let me see, I wrote it down what time this is. Yeah, so here I wanted Riven to go back. I don't know if that's right. Maybe I was calling the wrong thing. But I wanted Riven to group the team, and I was just going to drop pressure top.
You should be the one basing here.
To me. Why? Because Riven has TP? Or no,
Be-
actually both have TP.
You're the wave clear.
I meant even earlier, before my team gets killed.
Oh.
Like,
Okay. Well, then yeah, Riven should be with your team before your team dies. Or just somewhere that's not with you.
yeah.
But you have to clearly communicate that.
Yeah, I think she might have muted the whole team because she kind of just
Oh yeah,
ignored me.
I mean that happens.
Yeah. I do
Um,
that sometimes too. I mean, it's fine.
you have to ask the question, and this is where solo queue gets really difficult, is just because it's the right thing, is it still the right
Yeah.
thing?
So maybe I should have gone back because Riven was refusing to listen to me. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Where,
And here,
yes, this is the right call. But given my circumstances, where Riven is top lane and refuses to leave, is it still the right call?
Yeah, that's the toughest thing about solo queue. You're right.
So that's the question you have to ask yourself. And, it's a really difficult question. You can't always answer that. But if you consistently do what you're supposed to do, there will be less games where this happens. Or rather, the games that this happens won't be the majority. Which will then climb because you're doing the right things in the games that aren't these games.
Yeah.
And so like that happened in a game I was playing. Like I dumpstered their bottom lane. I'm like, hey Galio, let me go top lane. You can AFK wave clear bottom, whatever. He's like, no. I'm just like, but we'll win the game. He's like, no. I'm like, well, all right, I guess you don't want to do it. That's fine. But to me, it's like, okay, well that sucks that he didn't want to do it. But I know that I'm doing the right thing. So if I do that in other situations, it'll turn out properly more than it'll turn out poorly. Okay. So this is really greedy. You're chasing into an unwarded bush near their base. I know you have ult, and it's kind of unlucky that you drag that to Kayn. But the essence of the matter is you chased into an unwarded bush at 35 minutes. And I don't even know if you come out ahead. Do you guys come out ahead of this? Because you shouldn't.
Oh, I get blown up. My shield goes down. Actually, like I went into that bush with a huge shield, intending to kill
I saw it.
and as his auto comes at me, my shield vanishes. So that's kind of lucky.
Oops, wrong way. Yeah, it's just super greedy. So you guys, like, it doesn't even look like you guys get punished that much, but like, it's just better to not do that.
Yeah. All right.
Because you guys are already ahead anyway. You already won the trade. You got the pick.
Yeah.
Trying to force things when you get the pick is great. Trying to force things greedily when you get the pick is not great. It's like it's a 45 and then like one person goes to split push because that is objectively the best way to do it, and the team tries to fight 4v4 and they're like, oh, dude, dumb split pusher, GG. It's like, well, wait, we're against Victor and Galio. How are we gonna clear the wave? We're not. Or how are we gonna kill their turret? We're not. They're just gonna clear the wave.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything you can do in this fight at this point.
I think I run. I just run.
Yeah. Okay. So you're the wave. Oh.
I think I get greedy. I get somebody. Oh,
Yeah. So you inted a little bit here.
Wait. What? Can you go back? Like, what did I do?
Yeah, I rewinded it because I was 2-timesing it because I wasn't expecting that. You what?
Oh, okay.
Oh, you stopped the base.
I know what I did. Yeah, I stopped the base because I didn't realize Singed had already gone back. So I was like, oh, yo, like Riven can end because I didn't realize Singed. So that I died. I stopped the base.
Yeah, but Singed. Okay, so if Singed isn't alive, I think that's the right call. Maybe. Yeah, it is. It's the right call if Singed isn't alive. But Singed is alive.
I didn't notice it. Yeah. I didn't realize he was bot, and I thought like, oh, that's their whole team mid, and only one is backing, and to stop it.
Yeah, no, totally though. That is right. Assuming, like I said, that Singed isn't there, because then you stop their team from basing, and your team just get free stuff.
Yeah.
And if you saw, the respawn time is only like 10 seconds. So you were fine to do that. But normally, you just want to try to wave clear because you're the only wave clear that you had at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
We lose this game on a really bad play.
Oops. Did she get caught here? Yeah, so you guys are just conceding pressure. A
Yeah,
lot.
we have an empty nexus, so we're kind of trying to play it safe. And yeah, open nexus.
Okay, so I don't know if you did it purposely, but your bottom wave is massive because of the way you set it up.
I think I might have done that. Yeah, I think I killed the casters in order to build a slow push.
Okay, cool.
I
That's
don't know if
great.
that was the right thing to do.
It is.
Alright.
You have 3 cannons here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 casters with 4 melees. This wave is like this will end the game type of wave. Cause look, here's another cannon.
Yeah.
So as long as you guys aren't AFK
Yeah.
in base like you are, you did the right thing. But the second you guys like
didn't wanna-
all AFK and stop hitting this mid wave and you just let them walk to Baron, it's over.
So what should we have done there instead of like AFKing in base? Because we didn't want to like push out because then somebody was just gonna backdoor us or something like that.
Who's gonna backdoor you?
Well, they have 2 TPs, so I wasn't sure like what they
But who's gonna backdoor you?
like Trundle or Fizz coming into the base or no Sin. No, both TPs are down, but I didn't know that.
Well, we should be tracking TPs one, but how?
Yeah.
I don't understand how they backdoor you. Singe doesn't take your Nexus quickly. Fizz does, but you'll see him before he gets there, and then you could teleport or you guys could base. Trundle doesn't take your Nexus quickly. Jin doesn't take your Nexus quickly, and if he does, he ints you. And Tarek doesn't take it quickly. So I don't understand how you lose your Nexus.
I don't know. I was just playing it cautious too. And what health is our Nexus at? Like, can you pan over to it and see? Oh, it's at full.
It regenerates
there's
really
no
fast.
way. Yeah. And then this is the bad play. Like, Trundle just walks by us.
Don't ever waste your combo on Tarek. Oh, that was pretty good.
But then the game ends.
Yeah, but then they can end, so. Alright. So, honestly, you didn't make that many, like, large mistakes. I just gave you a lot of information in this VOD. Was there something you felt that I didn't cover or that you want to talk about now?
One thing that I wrote down to ask you about is itemization. Since, like you said, there's so much, like, little things, and everybody says that, but then I never hear, like, more than, like, there's so many different items you can build. Like, what should I be looking to build? I basically go, aside from a few different changes, like boots and starter items, I basically build the same thing every game. And I varied, like, death cap and void stuff. Like, I switch those slots. So, like, can you go a little bit more in depth of, like, what I should be building?
Yeah. This is the wave, by the way, that you built. 4 cannons with
So
another
proud.
one coming. 5 cannon minions. Okay, this is an end the game wave. Like.
I mean, how should we have been utilizing that then? Aside from, like,
Keeping mid
reset
pressure,
push.
like I said. So, staying up
And then
here
TP
so that
down
they
there
can't
while
just run to
crashes?
Baron. No, so they just can't run to Baron. Because if you just hold this wave here and just keep killing this while your team's like here, they can't just run to Baron because you guys will collapse. You guys have top inhib, you guys have bottom inhib. You guys just didn't stall the game out. You just let them win the game.
Wait, so then if we're pushing out mid and, like, we have enemy team has 5 people mid, we have 5 people mid. and then they send someone bot to stop that huge wave, do we engage 5-on-4?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and that's how we capitalize on that. Okay.
Yeah, this bottom wave is literally like 3 champions right now. Like, this is 5 cannon minions. Do you understand how much DPS this does? This does so much DPS that all of the minions won't even hit the inhib, because it'll be like this. There'll be minions just keep on going like this, trying to hit the inhib. That's how many minions there are for this wave.
Yeah,
It's
so slow
disgusting.
pushes can get really big late game.
And then yeah,
That's
like this
everything.
one. Look, you have another wave on top too. So you just had to stall the game, and you guys didn't stall the game by stalling their wave and their Baron play.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
But-
if you keep mid priority, they can't go Baron there.
Exactly. Because I mean, they might still, because they have Elder, so they're probably gonna try to force a fight on Baron, but they're tanking Baron. They don't have Baron. You know, you force them into the pit, and then it's like a split fight. Versus, okay, they have Baron, they have Elder, now let's try to fight them. You know, it's just way different.
Yeah.
Okay, but for Ekko, your cookie cutter build is Protobelt, Lichbane, right? That's what you build. These are your 2 core items. 1, 2. Okay? And then we have to account for this 3rd item, boots. Because we're going to build boots. You cannot not build boots. Right? That's trolling. So this means that you have 3 free items. Okay? And I'm going to limit even further. What can you do next? You can do a Void Staff 3rd item. Because we're not going to count boots as a full item. You can do Void Staff. You can do Rabadons. And you can do Zhonya's. Like, literally, Ekko's build is probably one of the most cookie cutter in the game, because you can't build other things. So, it's pretty much, which of these 3 do you need now? Well, Void Staff gives me most damage overall. Do I care about that? Am I going to be hitting their tank? Probably not. So you probably don't want Void Staff 3rd item. So this is probably going to be 4th item. Okay, now let's look at this one. Rabadons. Most damage. Larger shield. Sorry, most damage to squishy. A larger shield and turret pressure, because your Lich Brain procs off that. Okay. That seems pretty good 3rd item, doesn't it? Okay, so now I'm going to move it up. So I'm going to get Rabadon's 3rd item instead of Void Staff. But in some games, you will want Void Staff 3rd item because, you know, they all built a Hex Drinker. Well, now Void Staff is good.
They're all tanky, would I?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
yeah, okay.
like, if they have, like, Urgot 80 carry with, like, Hex Drinker, or, like, their 80 carry has Hex Drinker and Merc Treads. But, like, when you're playing an Assassin, and Ekko is an Assassin, you want to be hitting their carry. You don't care about their tank. And that's different from when you're playing Cassiopeia, for example. Because you're going to be hitting their tank, so you need that Void Staff early. Okay, and then Zhonya's. You can get that, but why would you get Zhonya's when you get Rabadons? Well, okay, I need defensive. That makes sense, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, I need to be defensive. So I would get Rabadons, I would get Zhonya's next. So I'm against Zed, or the team fights I have to dive really far and they have a lot of peel. Okay, that makes sense. So you see how I kind of explain those items and like it changes when you buy each one? Or did that not make sense at all? Did I get moved again? No, I'm good. Hello? Alright, so I guess I'll recap that with, Void. Oh, he dropped. Is damage to squishies. Rabadons. Oh, that's wrong. Actually, Jen, can you screen cap that? Are you back?
I'm back. I'm back.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Oh, good. So I'm gonna send you another call on Skype.
Sorry.
Make sure you mute Mike. Yeah, you're good.
I muted it.
Okay. So, does that make sense how I explain the items? When did you drop?
Yeah, that makes sense. On Echo, it's a lot simpler than most champions. It seems like.
Okay. So what does this mean? That means if I go Zhonya's third item, I have to get Void Staff fourth item.
Can you share your screen real quick if you're running stuff?
Oh, did I not? Can you not see my screen?
No, I can't. Maybe that's. You can just keep talking if you want, because.
Okay, you should be able to see it now.
All right, now I can see it. Now I can see it.
If you get Zhonya's third item, you probably have to get a Void Staff fourth item. Probably. But you just have to look at their team and say, what do I need? And how fed am I? So it's just different.
Yeah.
But did that general explanation of those three items, which those are honestly your only viable items,
Yeah.
unless you're like Killian, which you're one trick then, and those are really niche situations where you shouldn't be looking to apply those anyway.
Yeah, I was looking at it and he builds very irregularly. But yeah, that does make sense. But typically I'm gonna be going Zhonya's third item, right? And then but like obviously you explain all those situations, but Zhonya's comes more.
Ideally
often.
you only get Zhonya's third if you're into like Zed, or you're into something where you need to stall extra time, like you're diving the back line in a very chaotic fight. Ideally, you would get a Rabadon's third item. So it just really like depends. Honestly, you should aim for Rabadon's third item every game, because that's how you're most effective in split pushing. You know, that's your goal. You want to split push, so you want Rabadons to insta clear waves, to pressure turrets, to do the most damage to their carries when you're rotating. It just makes sense to get Rabadons. That's not to say there's not times you wouldn't get Void Staff, or sorry, Zhonya's though.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So, do you have any other questions?
I think I asked all my other questions throughout the game.
All right, cool. Awesome. Yeah, like I said, you didn't really make that many mistakes. I just think there was a lot for you to learn to use. Right? So, I guess you could consider that a mistake, but
no, I mean that's kind of why it's helpful to have like coaching, because there's stuff that I don't even know that I can be doing. If you know what I mean.
Definitely. I think that in this VOD specifically, that's more what it felt like. You know, like, okay, you inted here against Singed. Okay, you inted here because your Riven was staying with you. Okay, you got caught here, or you hit this, and yeah, you made mistakes. But honestly, like, you played the game overall pretty good. There's just definitely more that you could do to improve. So just keep those things in mind, and based on the conversations we've had, I don't think you're a very tilty person, so I don't think that's too much to be worried about. But just make sure that you keep focusing on what you're doing, because, like I said, like when you went down here and your team was flaming you, you did the right thing here. And how do you know if it's the right thing? Well, you might not necessarily know. You might have to ask somebody that's better than you to figure out, is that the right thing? And that's okay to do. But you just have to consistently do those things, even if your team's flaming you. Like, when I play on my Smurf and a D5 is like, holy crap, you're retarded, I'm like, wait a minute, who are you? And then I'm just like, muted, I don't need to hear it. I don't care if you know the game, I know the game. You know, so it's like, you just gotta play your game and make sure that you're focusing on improving.
Yeah. All right,
cool.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you using your time to help me out.
You're welcome. Have a splendid rest of your night.
All right, you too, man.
All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and end the VOD here. Thanks for watching if you were. This will be uploaded probably directly to YouTube instead of cutting out my mom. But I'm going to go ahead and go to my sister's birthday party, or rather graduation party. So have a good night, guys.